Hey, how's it going? It's John Boy. John Boy's Custom Rods. I'm going to show y'all how to remove guides from a rod today, because I just finished this rod and then noticed when I put a reel on it, the guides were off to the left a little bit, enough that I can notice it. So let's get right into it. All right. So what you want to do is find the guide foot. Try to stay near it. It's a little easier on mine, I say, because I know I got 3 layers of thread, because I got 1 layer of an under wrap and 2 layers of an over wrap over the guide. So if you got only 1 layer, because it's a bass rod or a small rod or inshore rod, be more careful. But find the end of your guide foot. We want to come right up it. Take it all the way to the metal. Don't try to do it all at once. Just give it a little pressure. All right. Get that whole guide foot exposed. I know I got thread under there. I'm just going through the epoxy right now. It's a real control you gotta have over this razor blade, because you don't want to nick your blank. As soon as you nick the blank, you can cause it to break right there. So be careful. Careful with your razor blade too. I use a pointed one because I buy them by the pack, like of 100. I use them in work and I use them in the rod building. You know, just don't stab yourself with a razor blade. Be careful. Use a sharp one so you don't have to push so hard. All right, so I got it pretty much uncovered. Let's see a little more right there. All right, should be good. You should be able to remove it. There you go. No damage to your guide. All right, so now you got this big old clumps of epoxy that got up under. That's good. But we'll just go ahead and take that stuff off. Be careful. I know I got a silver under wrap down there, so if I'm not getting into that silver under wrap, I'm good. But I just like to get some of this harder stuff, this thicker stuff off, because I like to remove the thread by my fingernail. That way, I did really well on these guides too. These are the hardest guides I've had to take off, my own. But that's a good thing to know. I mean, everything's stuck, but I like to go ahead and get that all. Usually, I do a lot of work with my fingernails, just because I don't want to tear the blank up. Factory rods I've taken apart before. That stuff usually just like peels right off real easy. Mine, great penetration. All right. So sometimes it is hard, and I like to keep a pick. That way you can save your fingernails on some of this that's harder. All right. As soon as you get it up, you usually can peel it off. You just keep at it. Let that come off when I take that silver part off. So you can get the thread, start like that on these harder ones where you don't want to move my stand. You just start pulling that thread out, rotate it. Once you can do that, that's the safest way. It'll remove the epoxy for you. One piece at like a time. There. Gotta get it going. Wait a minute. Hey. Just back here. Trying to get all this off. This is where we were at. So you gotta be careful now. I just want to try to get that edge up. Not fun, but you also don't want to destroy your blank, so there it goes. This is down there where the end, where I had that, where I introduced that blue into the red, so that's why it was coming apart like that. All right. So in here, stay under where your guide's going to be at too when you're doing anything like this. So that's exactly where my guide foot would be sitting. So you can get one started. It'll probably pop off, but come under and start that away. I'm saying my epoxy penetrated really well. Everything's stuck. All right, so this is the best way. Try to remove this last layer, or your only layer. On mine, this would be the first layer I put down, the under wrap. So you can just spin it. I got a lot of it on top still over here, but there we go. That'll pop out too. That blue. But as soon as you can get it to that point, put the tools away. Do it by hand, because you don't want to damage the blank. Because I can come right back and put a new under wrap and rebuild it just like I had it, and make my epoxy go over these edges, and you won't even know the difference really. I mean, it'll put it right back perfect, as long as you don't tear your blank up. There it goes right there. And I just go around and pick off that last little bit of epoxy. And you got the same footprint. You're gonna do the same thing. Just make sure the guides are lined up with the real seat this time. That's one mistake I hope I don't make anymore. But I think the hardest part about building rods is getting the guides straight in line with the rail seat. It's the hardest part. And I was building 3 at a time, I think 4 at a time, but 3 bottom rods and that Christmas rod at the time. And I think the only thing I think of is I didn't check this one. I always put the real seat guide in and put a line from it going down my guides to see if they're center. I do it on every one of them. Only thing I think of is I didn't do it on this one because they were definitely like guides supposed to be here. They were here. It was definitely a big Didn't even notice it until I was putting the butt cap on, trying to get it straight with the rail seat. Then I looked at the guides and yep, I could see it. Probably would have fished fine, but I could see it because that's the same way you're looking at the rod all day. And this one ain't for me. It's for Captain T. So I would have fished it for me. I wouldn't have redoing all this. It'll either catch fish or break. That's the way I'd have did it. Because it would have been fine. But epoxy is about the hardest part, but you don't want to put a tool on it out here. But I've done them before and not even removed this part of the epoxy. You can't even tell when you put new epoxy on it. But I'm just getting most of it off. Fingernail. Is there some left? Oh well, I'll cover it up. You could always, if you did damage, like scrape up the blank. I mean, all you would do is just, why not just make your guide wraps a little bit longer? That's all it is, but they're long enough. I don't want to do that, so I'm gonna try not to tear the blank up. Keep it up under the guide and the under wrap, and we'll be good. There you go. 1 guide wrap removed. That's 4, and I got 4 more. Sucks to have to rebuild the whole rod, but hey, practice makes perfect. It's got to be right. It's John Boy's Custom Rods. See y'all next time.